Hello and welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd and you are watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I have some breaking news coming out here for you. We've got an update regarding Friday's attack on Belgorod. We know that Ukraine launched a massive missile attack on the Belgorod region, and I reported on this yesterday. And while we were reporting this, many news media outlets were not covering it, especially mainstream media, CNN, NBC, CBS News. Any mainstream media was not covering this event at all. And I found a lot of information online that was showing that these were Himars rockets fired into Belgorod, and Belgorod came under massive attack. Dozens of rockets or missiles were fired into that region. Many of the people there were catching these attacks on video. Russian air defenses were shooting many of these down. You could hear the explosions and see the explosions. I did a whole video on that yesterday for you guys if you want to go and check it out. But at the time that I did this report, we had no idea and we weren't able to completely confirm whether these were HIMARS attacks. Well, now we've got a report coming out that was updated as of yesterday night, and I was not seeing this yesterday, but I was able to find it today, that on that same day, this last Friday, these were for sure HIMARS rockets that are U.S. supplied weapons that were fired into the Belgorod region. Now understand, if you don't know what I mean by that, these are U.S. supplied weapons that Ukraine is firing into Russian territory. Now, we've been talking lots and lots about this. Many of my videos lately have been regarding this topic because this is the highlight of the Ukraine war right now. And I've got this major update to go over here. So we've got a lot of reading to do because there's a ton of information in this article. So I want to go ahead and get right into this for you. This is on Forbes. On Friday, Ukraine got permission to launch American rockets at targets inside Russia. Hours later, HIMARS opened fire. Isn't that crazy? Literally hours later, that's when they decided to start striking inside of Russian territory. So they were ready for this, and they got the green light from President Biden. And apparently this was a quiet signal to Ukraine from what we were hearing. It was a whisper, if anything, to Ukraine to tell them they could start striking inside of Russian territory in the Kharkiv region, which Belgorod is near Kharkiv. So the HIMARS targeted Belgorod, a base for Russian attacks in northern Ukraine. Here's a picture of a HIMARS shooting some rockets right here. For more than 2 years after Russia widened its war on Ukraine, the administration of U.S. President Joe Biden drew a red line for Ukrainian forces. The administration, we'll zoom in a little bit so we can read better. There we go. Administration would provide the Ukrainians with precision munitions, including aerial glide bombs, Harpoon cruise missiles, M30-31 rockets for high mobility artillery rocket systems, and Army tactical missile system rockets. The Ukrainians could use these munitions against Russian targets on Ukrainian soil, but if they struck targets inside Russia, the White House might withhold future aid. So that's the reason why they weren't able to do it before, because they told them that it was too dangerous for them to do that. They didn't want to spark a wider war. Now, all of a sudden, Ukraine sends a delegation to the United States and says, please allow us to start striking inside Russian territory. We need it in the Kharkiv region to hold the Russians back. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Biden's like, you know what? It's okay. Go ahead and start striking Russian territory. But recent Russian strikes on Kharkiv, just 25 miles from the border in northeastern Ukraine, helped change Biden's mind. A month of indiscriminate strikes has displaced tens of thousands of civilians and killed scores of them. On May 25th, the Russians bombed a home improvement store in the city of 1.4 million people, killing 18 people, including 2 children. On Friday, the White House erased its red line. That night, the Ukrainian army reportedly aimed some of its wheeled HIMARS launchers at the Russian city of Belgorod, 20 miles north of the Russian-Ukraine border in southern Russia. This is a welcome step that will allow us to now better protect Ukraine and Ukrainians from Russian terror and attempts to expand the war, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky wrote right before potentially dozens of 660-pound rockets, each ranging as far as 57 miles, with 50 pounds of high explosives, rained on Belgorod. Absolutely huge, guys. This is the information we were looking for, and now we've got it. So we were able to confirm 100% that the attack on Friday that I reported yesterday was for sure HIMARS rockets that are U.S. supplied, fired into Russian territory. And has Russia responded to this? No, they have not at all. From what I understand and from what I'm hearing, there has been no response at all towards NATO, towards the U.S., especially the U.S., considering this is their weapons. We kept hearing for the longest time that Russia was not going to be okay with this. This was their red line, that if any NATO weapons started flying into their territory, that they were going to respond and potentially nuclear. So now I want to know, how is Russia going to respond? Because even when we went over the TASS news agency article yesterday regarding this attack on Belgorod, they were not even saying these were HIMARS rockets. They were saying they were air targets, okay? They weren't even saying if it was drones or anything like that. They said air targets. So even TASS news agency, a Russian news agency, which is a big agency, I might add, even they would not confirm that these were HIMARS. So I had to find this on X in order to find out that these were HIMARS being used. Russian media captured the sounds of air raid sirens and the fiery launches of air defense batteries as the Ukrainian rockets thundered towards the city of 384,000. State media claimed air defense batteries shot down 14 rockets, and there is some evidence of rocket fragments on the ground. It's unclear how much damage the raid inflicted, and more to the point, how much damage it inflicted on military targets. It's obvious what the Ukrainians are trying to accomplish, however. Belgorod and the surrounding towns are a base of operations for the Russian army. The Russian army's northern grouping of forces, which has been attacking Ukrainian border towns since May 10th, possibly aiming to break through Ukrainian lines and drive towards Kharkiv. In 3 weeks of hard fighting, this grouping of Russian troops has, at great cost, captured a chain of border villages and turned the town of Vovchansk, a few miles south of the border, into a rubble-strewn battlefield. Swift action by Ukrainian reinforcements, the 36th Marine Brigade, 71st Jaeger Brigade, and an elite 82nd Air Assault Brigade, among other units, has halted the Russian advance. So the town of Vovchansk, I saw a picture the other day. Vovchansk is just not even recognizable anymore. It is completely destroyed. It's on fire. The buildings are destroyed there. There was like 17,000 people living there in that town. This is near the Kharkiv region, or in the Kharkiv region, very close to the border of Russia. And Russia's been trying to capture this village. I think they have control of some of it. And there's major battles going on there right now, and it's just completely destroyed the entire village. Belgorod has only grown in importance as the battle grinds on. There are so many Russian casualties in area hospitals that local healthcare system is in a state of collapse, the Ukrainian Center for Defense Strategies noted. Look at that. That's huge news right there, too. So the healthcare system in the Belgorod area is in a state of collapse, apparently, according to this information, due to all the Russians that have been injured or killed in this war. There are signs the Russians are regrouping for a fresh assault. Troop movements in the towns of, I don't know if I'm going to say any of these right, Gryvoron, Borisovka, and Proletarsky, a few miles west of Belgorod, are possibly indicating the formation of a strike group in Belgorod Oblast, according to CDS. In striking Belgorod and the surrounding oblast, the Ukrainians erode the northern grouping of forces, and this purported new strike group, without having to fighting the Russian street by street in Vovchansk. To be clear, Ukrainian forces could strike Belgorod before this week, but only using locally made or European munitions. In fact, Belgorod has been a target since April 2022, when Ukrainian army attack helicopters slipped across the border and rocketed in an oil facility in the city. So there's some confirmation there. I talked about this in my last video, mentioning that Belgorod's come under attack many times, especially by drones. They've come under, dozens of times of attacks by drones, fired from Ukraine. And now this is the first time that we've seen U.S. supplied rockets or missiles fired into Russian territory, or the Belgorod region for that matter. So this is really huge news coming out now. But Ukraine's best and most numerous deep strike munitions are made in America. A truly sustainable and damaging bombardment of Russian bases in Belgorod begs for HIMARS, ATACMS, and U.S. supplied glide bombs. The Ukrainians finally have the green light to proceed. I am grateful for the vital support, Zelensky wrote. So I have a huge feeling here. The main reason why the Biden administration is A-okay with Zelensky and Ukraine striking inside of the Kharkiv region. I'm going to call it the Kharkiv region. I don't know why they call it that. They don't say that, because technically Kharkiv region is Ukraine, but they're saying anywhere near there. So they're not technically saying Belgorod or Kursk or anything like that. The actual Russian territories or provinces. No, they're just saying Kharkiv region, so it could be much further than just near Kharkiv if they really wanted to. But yeah, I was thinking there's definitely a lot of military assets in this area of Belgorod and also Kursk. And this is probably the main reason why they want to start going after all these facilities over here and start taking out all these Russian targets, which they've amassed in those regions. So that's why Ukraine even was attacking a lot of these regions as well, especially Belgorod, coming under massive drone attacks all the time. So just absolutely huge news, guys. And I wanted to bring you this update because we covered this just yesterday and it was a pretty big video. I know a lot of you guys probably liked it. And I wanted to give you an update regarding this because this is absolutely huge. Okay, we are at a major point in history here where Russia has come out many, many times in the past and said they were not okay. This was a red line for them. If any U.S. or NATO supplied weapons, doesn't matter who it's from, but any NATO weapons start flying into Russian territory and targeting their land, that this would be a major red line for them, and they could even respond nuclear. Okay, Russia's been doing lots of tactical nuclear war drills recently, and the U.S. has been warning them, do not detonate a tactical nuke in Ukraine. They've even warned that if they do this, and I reported on this as well just like a week ago, that the United States will start flying B-52 bombers or whatever they've got over to the eastern side of Ukraine and completely level all the Russian troops and all their assets and everything on that side of the country and destroy them is what was reported. Okay, and we also had a story that just came out a couple days ago where the U.S. flew two B-52 bombers that were originally flown from the United States over to the UK. Then they flew the B-52 bombers from the UK over to Kaliningrad, encircled Kaliningrad, and then flew back to the UK. And this was most likely a message to Putin: do not try to detonate any kind of nuclear weapons in Ukraine, or we will target Kaliningrad. And many countries have even threatened Vladimir Putin on that and said that they would completely destroy Kaliningrad. Even the Baltic nations were warning about that too. Lithuania, Estonia, Latvia, those neighboring Baltic countries to Russia. So very, very big news, guys. And I don't know, for some reason I'm getting the hint here that maybe Russia's not going to respond right away, but who knows? I have a big feeling they could just respond out of nowhere, and there probably won't even be any kind of a warning. I'm just hoping that if they do respond, it is not nuclear and it's not something major that draws NATO into this conflict. But let me know what you think down below. We've got the information out here for you, and official confirmation received that these were U.S. supplied Himars attacking the Belgorod region on Friday night. Let me know what you think down below. That's going to be it for this update. If you got something out of this, please smash that like button. And also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below. Hit that notification bell. That way YouTube can notify you. And with that, I hope y'all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless. And we'll see you in the next one.